Shaw here with us. He gave an excellent keynote presentation on Small is the New Big at the AdTech Conference New Delhi. We would like to now talk to him more about some of the basic tenets of media, as he's the global head of digital and social media, and we would further like to get some gems of wisdom from him.
I'm not sure I could do that, but
yeah. So first, you talked about the digital landscape, and now you want to embed it in with the operating principles for Nestle. So that's a huge statement, So we wanted to know more in terms of what really is your vision on that, and how do you plan work around that, in the future.
well, first and foremost, I mean, digital is a fast-moving medium. It's grounded in sense and response principles, real-time engagement, always on. So we need to think about the org structure that is most conducive to enabling the full potential of digital. And it's not only a question that I think large organizations need to think about, but also agencies as well, who need to figure out how they can better service clients. So it's a universal question that we're all thinking about. It's been an exciting me is because I started my career at P&G, large company, led their first digital marketing team, then did a startup where completely different operating structure, where it was either you had to adapt or die. And now I'm back in a large organization asking some of the same questions. But it's, whether you're an entrepreneur or an intrapreneur, it's a very exciting question area.
So one question I had was that, many times, the brand managers and the brand, builders really talk about, the old, aspects and principles for building brand. And Nestle has such culture, philosophy, it is really one of those brands which is a heritage brand. So we wanted to know more in terms of what would you actually say, how do you actually on a day-to-day basis fight that tug of war between digital, which is new media altogether, and with the old brand builders who basically say television is there, and television is there going to stay. So what is really one of those mantra for you to sort of fight the tug of war on a day-to-day basis?
Well, first off, I think you're creating a false dichotomy, digital and everything else, and this is a mistake that I think a lot of us make in terms of it's almost like it's an outdated argument. And one of the arguments I made today in my keynote speech is that, listen, we need to really think about how everything synergizes with one another. Paid, owned, and earned media is a huge opportunity for us. And we may find that TV is a huge validator of digital, because digital amplifies TV. It gives TV copy additional life. It may be sourced from social media. In fact, a lot of the best TV programming derives directly from what's said on Twitter or Facebook, and a lot of those consumer insights. So I think the bigger question is, how do we drive the ultimate ecosystem between the areas? Now, do I think that companies will begin to invest more, shift the ratio from TV weighted to other areas? Yeah, I do think that will start to rationalize in new directions. But I think the way we get there is to think about the ecosystem and always harness the fundamentals. One of the points I made today is that advertising always follows the consumer. The consumer is, in fact, migrating to online, both consumer attention and engagement. Advertisers inevitably have to be with the consumer. So I think we should all feel some degree of comfort that investment will follow attention and engagement, but we need to figure out the right mix and feel very comfortable that it's working.
Great. One of your colleagues talked about the fact that you've been a part of the Word of Mouth Marketing Association.
I founded it, co-founded it.
You co-founded it,
yeah.
And you've also been excellent in terms of having an eye for crisis management when it comes to media.
Yes.
And social media as a platform now, with Facebook being the third largest nation, is really a big platform, and
just a little.
Yeah, as a brand owner, what is your sense on it, in terms of, consumers coming in there and, talking about conversations which might not or might, fit in with the brand tenets. So what is your, macro principle on that, and how do you go about, managing it on a day-to-day basis?
Well, again, there's no question consumers have greater leverage and influence in the digital environment. I wrote a whole book about that. And I think, companies need to be very respectful of the consumer's conversation and their space. I mean, I mentioned as I talked about the three key building blocks for our strategy: listening, engaging, and inspiring. The listening piece is really important. You know, we need to understand where it's appropriate to have a conversation with consumers. Sometimes it's not. To understand how to manage uncomfortable conversations, and listening really helps on that front. So we need to really be in touch with the consumer as we kind of make our strategies, whether we defend ourselves or promote ourselves.
Okay, great. You talked about paid, owned, and earned media, in great detail, and Knowing Your Neighbor was an excellent campaign which executed, each of those three aspects. I'm sure you would have one of them as your personal favorite. Social, being one of those, since you've been a great proponent of that. What would also be one that would come along with that, which you think would actually, amplify your reach with the end consumers?
I think our KitKat brand does a really good job as well of paid, owned, earned. I mean, they've obviously got activity on TV. They've got great owned properties in the context of their websites. And they're leading the pack at Nestle in terms of earned engagement vis-a-vis Facebook, and now they're experimenting in other areas. And they nicely synergize between the global approach and the local approach, which is a very unique consideration for Nestle because we're a very decentralized company. So that's another one of mine. But I think all of our brands strive to kind of take that big idea, which is foundational to brand building the Nestle way, and amplify it through owned and earned media.
Okay, great. What would be the metrics that you would say, marketers could look at from a brand building perspective? Given that there is so much of, talk on direct marketing in the digital space, and a lot of, small and medium, owners talk in terms of quick results, quick money, and quick monetization. So, when, you have, thespians of brand like Nestle, we wanted to know more from you as an industry or, leader in the FMCG category of what you would think would be great. If a marketer has to wear the digital hat and say, I want to do brand building.
Well, this may sound a cop-out, but the answer depends. It depends on your business objectives. If you're in a much more transactional category, like an Nespresso or Nescafe Dolce Gusto, sometimes the direct marketing principles may apply more, maybe going for the click or the immediate conversion. For a lot of the other brands, you're going to be looking for a deeper, more sustainable brand sell where there may not be a click, but we know that the advertising is still working, especially when there's new capability like sight, sound, and motion vis-a-vis video advertising and the like. So I think we need to really think about campaign objectives, and then that will impact the KPIs and the digital choices that we make.
So what happens when there are brands that are not able to fulfill the immediate sales requirements, done great in terms of fan responses and a lot of activation on the campaign front. So how would you say that marketers should take as a guidance from brands like Nestle on what should be the the way to kind of prioritize on that front, whether look at brand equity or whether look at sales?
Well, if it's not converting to sales short-term, mid-term, or long-term, I think we always need to take a very critical look. We're going down the right pathway, and I don't think we should ever relax our marketing instinct to kind of drive conversion. It's just that for different types of executions, we're going to have a longer burn cycle. CRM, for example, to kind of nurture meaningful communities, the rewards there we may see over time. We create network effects, friends of fans, but it's not like we've got a promotion, click now, and then I can run a quick analysis and say it paid out. So again, it depends on the circumstances, but we should always have an eye towards, building equity, driving sales.
And the last question, what was your sense on the AdTech Delhi event? And what were your experiences so far? And anything new in terms of the Indian environment that you thought was strikingly different from what you have experienced in other countries?
Well, on the last part, I could talk forever, so I'll keep that part simple. I mean, I'm learning a lot about small screens and mobile, learning a lot about brand advocacy and social engagement. Those have been really eye-opening, and I hope to dive in even more. On ad tech in general, I mean, I've been going to these conferences for 15 years. I'm on your advisory board, and it was really special to come here to India this time. And it wasn't just a big thing for Ad Age; it was kind of a big deal for digital. It's like it's coming of age. and a lot of the best innovations coming from the emerging markets. And some of them aren't starting with all the legacy. They're kind of starting with like mobile phones and create some tremendous opportunities. So it's really exciting to be here. There's an energy I haven't felt before. I enjoyed visiting some of the vendors. I hope next year when I come back there's even more mobile vendors.
Okay.
You had a lot of your ad serving, and I thought that was really good. But it was great group, great agenda, and I was really honored to participate.
Great. So we love to have you here, and thanks for being a part of this.
Thank you.